Hello everybody and welcome to the first part of the Q&A, of which there will be many parts, I imagine, on account of the fact that this is by far the largest Q&A I've ever done. And there is a ridiculous number of questions, which means I'll probably need to be a ridiculous number of videos in which to answer them. I originally wanted to do this by going to my player home, and then I'd just sort of sit down there and then we'd go through the questions, but yeah, that's not, strictly speaking, possible right now, as you can see. Yeah, I'm kind of stuck in the soul cairn. Fun times. So, for at least this bit anyway, this part of the question and answering and so on and so forth, we'll be here at the little campsite I've got inside this, whatever the hell this place is. And we'll just sit down next to the fire and we'll answer the questions that way. And maybe in a future video you'll finally get to see my awesome player home and all the accumulated junk I've got in it. But for now, we're going to be here in this charming locale. So anyway, Sarana, can you...
What do you need?
Yeah, can you go, like, I don't know, stand watch outside? Perhaps, yeah, just out here. That'd be great.
Got it.
Yeah, thanks. While I,
That's it?
While I go inside and talk to the voices in my head. No, here.
I'm on it.
Stop following me. It's getting a little creepy. You know, just. Can I even tell you to wait?
Let's just find my mind.
Oh, for heaven's sake, I can't even tell you to wait. Fine, whatever. Whatever. We'll just have to put up with her eyeballing us the whole time. So anyway, yeah, let's just chill by the campfire. Can the mod work now, please? Yeah, there we go. So anyway, yeah, here we are in the Soul Cairn. Not the coziest place on the planet, but or off the planet, as the case happens to be. But there it is. She's going to stand on the fire now, isn't she? No, she's going to get right up in my face. Will you bugger off, woman? Seriously. Get lost! Over there, in the corner.
Nothing else?
Heaven's sake. Seriously, just... would it kill you to stay still? Oh, God. Oh, anyway. So. Go away. Go away. Stop standing on the goddamn... Oh my god, this is actually ridiculous. Will you please leave? Before I lock you in a room somewhere so you can't follow me. You know what? You know what we're going to do? We're going to call upon the mighty console gods to aid us in our quandary. How'd you like that? You're fucking frozen like a statue now. That's what you get for being disobedient. Now then. Anyway. So... Yes. Now Madam over there is out of the way. We can sit and chill for a bit. By the campfire. Yeah, this is the Dovahkiin's Relax mod or whatever it is. It basically just allows your player character to engage in idle animations like other NPCs. I quite like it. It adds a bit of immersion. It's fun. And as I promised, there will be a list of all the different mods I use in my mod installation in the description. So anyone who asked in the comments what mods you use for Skyrim, I'm kindly skipping you, and you're going to be... Your question should be answered by the list in the description. But as I said before, I don't heartily recommend it on the basis that it's a very buggy selection of mods, and they don't work terribly well together. So, you know, just bear that in mind anyway. So, alright, let's actually get on with answering these freaking questions, shall we? So, I've got like all the list of comments right from the bottom on the video, and we'll see how far we get through them today. Right, let's see. I've not really rehearsed any of this because, well, you know, it's Q&A. Who the hell rehearses a Q&A? So, let me scroll up. Let's have a look. What's the first question? First question. And I will leave, by the way, the Q&A announcement video up for a little while longer for more people to ask questions, but after a little while I will make the video private and it will disappear, and that will be the closing deadline on stuff you want to ask, because otherwise I'm going to be here like all week just doing Q&A videos, which would be a bit silly. So anyway, The first question comes from XCMax10X, I think. And he asked, if there is a next Elder Scrolls game, what province would you like it to take place in? Personally, I'm rooting for either Black Marsh or the Somerset Isles. I really think it's got to be one of those two. I know a lot of people want to see Hammerfell, but let's be honest, we've done 2 human provinces in a row now, and both of them are, well, Skyrim's okay, but they're both relatively dull compared to Morrowind, and Morrowind was a crazy, off-the-wall Elvish province, and honestly I want to see another Elvish province, or possibly Black Marsh, because that's probably even more weird, because it's built by the Argonians, who are crazy lizard men, and, you know, it needs no further explanation, really. So that's what I'm rooting for. I want another Elder Scrolls game that's as weird as Morrowind was, you know, that's really bizarre and beautiful and crazy and, you know, a little bit off the walls, because Bethesda have built up a solid following through making slightly more bland games, and there's nothing wrong with blandness, it's just you want a bit of variety every now and again. They've made got a solid following through Oblivion and Skyrim. Skyrim was a little bit more, stop that stupid vanity camera, I don't like it, it spins around too fast. You know what? TFC. Well, this is really weird to control with the controller. Oh yeah, I play the game with an Xbox controller, for those who hadn't already figured that out. I just sort of prefer it, generally speaking. I like to play my games with a controller where the option is there. I generally do. Unless it just doesn't really work very well, but in Skyrim's case it works beautifully, so I just sort of prefer it. I like analog movement control. That's my thing. I will honestly sacrifice the precision of a mouse and keyboard setup for the analog movement control over the digital 8-way control of a keyboard. It's just how I roll. So there it is. So yeah, no, like I said, Black Marsh or the Somerset Isles. We need somewhere weird and crazy. We've had 2 places which were fairly generic. Even though, like I said, there's nothing necessarily wrong with generic. I want something that isn't generic now, frankly. Something that, like Morrowind, I will be able to look back on in 10 years' time and say, that place was freaking awesome to explore. You know, I can't honestly say the same about Oblivion, and I don't think I'll be able to say the same about Skyrim, as much as Skyrim is an improvement over Oblivion in terms of its world design, you know. So, yeah, that's my answer. Either Black Marsh or Somerset Isle. If I had to choose one between the 2, I would probably say the Somerset Isle, just because we know bugger all kind of about it, really, and some of the descriptions we do have of it sound really, actually kind of mind-blowing. So, considering the next Elder Scrolls game will be definitely be a next-gen title, I think the graphical fidelity we'll have available to us in the next generation of games that come out will probably finally be able to do the Somerset Isle and its supposedly beautiful architecture and stuff justice. So that's probably my choice. Next question comes from Malicious Carrot. Dogs or cats, and why? My answer is dogs. I've had both dogs and cats before, but unfortunately, in my personal experience, all the cats I've had have been kind of horrible, actually. They've been really bitey and scratchy, and they just generally hate people, whereas even though my dog is a bit whiny and he has lots of problems, he's a vast improvement over either of them. The downside is you have to walk a dog, but depending on how you look at that, that's also an upside. Like, I don't get nearly as much exercise as I probably ought to, so having to walk the dog every day, you know, it's probably doing me good. Probably more good me than it is him, actually, now I think about it. So, you know, yeah, definitely dogs. Definitely dogs. I've often found that cats tend to be... They tend to become attached to places rather than people, whereas dogs are more attached to people rather than places, if you know what I mean. So, I don't know. It's just, I don't think one's necessarily more intelligent than the other, but I do appreciate the fact that my dog understands what I tell him, generally speaking, you know, in terms of basic commands. You know, like if I tell him his dinner's ready, he will understand that his dinner's ready, and stuff like that. So, I don't know. There's something slightly more human about dogs in my mind, you know. So that's why I sort of like them more. But anyway. Nhander24 and a whole bunch of other people asked, any word on your Kaiserreich Let's Play? And I always say please everybody watch my channel update videos because it answers questions like this very simply, but alright, just this once, I'll answer you. Kaiserreich is dead, people, in case you hadn't noticed or didn't know, because you missed the channel update video I did. And in all fairness, I don't make them very easy to spot. What I think I might do at some point is make a separate playlist which contains just channel updates, so it's much easier to check up on them. So yeah, but no, Kaiserreich is dead, and the reason that Kaiserreich is dead is because I got to a certain point in the campaign I was doing where it was literally a very specific date where the game would repeatedly crash on that date no matter what I did, which made, obviously, for very obvious reasons, made the game completely unplayable. So yeah, I'm still kind of pissed off about that because that campaign was actually going really well. It's probably one of the most interesting and strange campaigns I've ever done in Kaiserreich, full stop. So yeah, I'm kind of gutted that it crashed. But like I said in the old update video, I think possibly the reason why it crashed might have had something to do with the weird way the campaign had turned out, and I think maybe some events might have bugged out or something, but I'm not a talented enough Hearts of Iron 2 modder to figure out what the problem was and try and fix it. So yeah, yeah, Kaiserreich's dead, and I probably won't return to it anytime soon either, because I'm kind of a bit fed up of Hearts of Iron 2 for the minute, actually. It'll be quite some time before we ever do that again, if we ever do that again. So, yeah, that's the answer to that question once and for all. Oh, next question is from Connor Leach. Squee 913 took Squeeper into Skyrim. Would you do the same with Idris? The answer is I don't know. Actually, I don't know because I don't know how this Let's Play with Idris and how his character and stuff is going to turn out by the end of it. While I have a general plan for what I think might happen with Idris in my head, at the same time, the two main modded questlines I'm going to be playing in the Let's Play, which we're literally on the cusp of starting one of them, by the way. It'll literally be a few videos from now. We'll probably get started with it. I've never played them before. Like, I'm playing them largely blind. Like, I skimmed through some walkthroughs just to make sure there wasn't anything in there that completely took me by surprise and really screwed over the roleplay. But it's pretty much blind I'm playing those, so I have no idea how that's going to turn out in terms of Idris's character development and stuff like that. And also, I don't know. I'm kind of I'm being very cautious, a bit like Variax was with his Oblivion Let's Play over making sequels. I think a sequel to anything is a very difficult thing to do, and I would hate if I made a sequel to this Oblivion Let's Play with Idris that totally sucked. Like, I'm aware that Squee913 is doing it, and I really like his Let's Play so far, but what I am doing is I'm watching it very, very carefully to see how it turns out, because I'm still completely undecided on the subject. You know, he's decided that he wants to go a certain route with it. He's taken Squeeper into Skyrim with him. He's done a horrendous amount of modding work to create a whole custom questline that's tailored specifically to Squeeper's character. And I don't know if I'd be prepared to do that kind of thing with Idris. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's literally a case of depends on how the Oblivion Let's Play turns out, and it very strongly pivots on whether or not I consider Squee's Skyrim Let's Play to be very successful or not. Because, you know, I like it so far, but the guy is, in my mind, also being a bit of a guinea pig, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of how the whole experiment he's doing kind of works out. So there you go. Okay, so next question comes from Omenir. If you were offered to be king of the UK, would you accept? And how well do you think you would manage if you did? If you did not accept, why? And the answer to this question is hell no, I wouldn't accept. Like, I'm not a big fan of the royals anyway, but why on earth would I want that kind of responsibility, you know? Good lord. No. If I became king of the UK, besides, I'd have to stop Let's Playing, for starters, you know? You know? So, you know, and honestly, Let's Playing, especially now, it's kind of become my job because I'm with TGN now, you know, it's nothing, I wouldn't want to change it for anything, for any job in the world, actually, really, if I'm honest. Except maybe being an astronaut, you know, if NASA randomly came to my house and said, hey, do you want to go into space? I'd probably say yeah. But other than astronaut, no, I wouldn't want to do anything other than Let's Playing. So, you know, And in a more daft sense, yeah, no, I wouldn't want to be king of the United Kingdom. I'd be terrible at it anyway. I don't even know what the royals honestly do. Like, I assume they do something useful that I'm perhaps not aware of. They can't honestly seriously sit around in Buckingham Palace all the time doing nothing, you know. I'm sure they have. They probably, you know, they have to go to like loads of different like charity events and stuff like that, and I would find that seriously dull. Like, sometimes, like, I'm not a fan of the royals, like I said, but sometimes I actually feel sorry for some of the younger members of the royals, because the amount of crap they have to do, you know, just because they were born into the royal family, you know, through complete and utter random chance, you know, in a way it kind of sucks actually. So, yeah, there you go. I wouldn't become king of the UK if I was offered it. No, sir. Or maybe I would, and then I would abolish the entire monarchy. I don't know. Maybe I'd do that, and then I'd resign. So, right, okay. So the next question comes from Hell Historismus, I think. I'm sorry if I pronounce people's mispronounce people's usernames. I'm not very good at that, I'm afraid. So especially when they're foreign ones. Other than gaming, what are your interests / hobbies? Well, I like drawing as a hobby. That is, I don't particularly enjoy it when I'm having to do it as a job or as an educational thing. I did start doing an illustration course at university, but then promptly switched over to game design because I found illustration to be incredibly boring. But I do like, just in my spare time, doing a bit of doodling, a bit of sketching, you know, that sort of thing. I think it's good fun. I love history, bit of a history buff, especially when it comes to stuff like World War II. And Russian history, actually. I did, for my A-levels, a module on Russian history, which I thought was actually fantastic. That is a country which has an amazing history, especially when it comes to the 20th century. I don't think there's a single country on the planet, possibly, other than maybe China, that has such a turbulent past. And it's actually fascinating to study, you know. It's a fascinating study of just human behaviour as well, the history of the Russian people. So, you know, yeah, I really like history. I love history. I've been into it for ages, you know, ever since I was a little kid watching war films on the telly from like the 60s and 70s. Yeah, I've been totally into that stuff. So, yeah, history, drawing, I quite like. I enjoy a few bits of sports, you know, real sports, if you want to call it that, as well as esports. Like, I quite like watching, I mean, it's a fairly recent thing, actually, me really getting into this, but I quite like watching professional pro StarCraft matches, actually. They're actually quite exciting, I find. And, you know, I like watching the rugby, and occasionally I even like watching the football. And I quite like NFL as well. NFL's cool. It's good fun to watch, as long as you understand it anyway. Like, I really kind of loathe the you know, all those EA Sports titles they do, where it's basically the same game re-released every year with a roster update. But what I will say is, when I randomly happened to get myself a copy of, I think I borrowed it off my brother actually at the time, I managed to get my hands on a copy of Madden 2012 or something. And what I will say about those games is, if you're unfamiliar with a sport, those games will totally teach you how that sport is played. Everything I know about NFL kind of comes from playing Madden, so you know, yeah. So yeah, I kind of quite like those sports, that sort of thing. And yeah, no, I don't really, other than gaming, you know, like you said, no real interest in hobbies. I suppose I like reading into game design and stuff like that. That's why I'm doing a game design course at university. But I don't know whether that falls under your little gaming umbrella, if you like. And I quite like tabletop stuff, like Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer and that sort of thing. But I've not had a chance to play any of those in like years. So yeah, and trading card games are quite fun. Magic the Gathering's a bit of a laugh. But again, haven't had a chance to play that in ages, other than through the Magic 2013, you know, PC game or whatever. So, you know, I love that kind of stuff, all the nerdy, geeky stuff like that, you know. Okay, so next question. I'm trying not to lose my place here. It comes from Lewis Blair. And have you ever heard of steampunk, and what do you think of it? Yeah, of course I've heard of Steampunk. Steampunk's cool. I love it. I think it's great. Some of my favourite games have been sort of set in steampunkish sort of universes, like Thief 2: The Metal Age. That's a great game. Grew up playing that. That's all steampunky. And Dishonored, if you want a way more recent one, I really do like Dishonored. I think it's a great game, but that's totally steampunky as well. So yeah, steampunk's cool. Personally though, I'm more of a fan of dieselpunk. And if you don't know what dieselpunk is, well, you have like all these things like whatever punk and this and that punk. You have stuff like, because you have steampunk, which is kind of like, you know, advanced technology using steam-powered stuff like that, and it's kind of a bit difficult to describe now I think about it. And you have other stuff like cyberpunk, which is like Deus Ex, and you have atom punk, which is like Fallout 3, or you know, just Fallout in general. That's atom punk. But diesel punk is like sort of World War II style punk, if you know what I mean. Like, if you want a couple of examples of what I'm talking about, Captain America is diesel punk. Hellboy's diesel punk, and I'm trying to think of a few more examples now, which I've suddenly drawn a blank on, unfortunately, which kind of sucks. But yeah. Oh, Iron Sky. Iron Sky is a perfect example of diesel punk. That's awesome as well. So yeah, I love all that kind of stuff. It's probably because I'm such a World War II nut, but yeah, I think diesel punk's great, but steampunk's awesome as well. So next question comes from Cain Arvel, and this is another question that a whole bunch of other people asked us. Are you planning to do a Skyrim Let's Play? Yes, I will do a Skyrim Let's Play at some point. I've already said that I'm definitely going to be waiting until all the DLC is out and finished for it and patched up properly, and I might even wait for a few more big mods, you know, like big questline mods to come out and stuff like that. So yeah, as I've said, like, as to whether or not it will involve Idris again as a sequel, if you like, to the Oblivion Let's Play, no idea at the minute. It depends on a whole bunch of stuff. But will I be doing an actual Skyrim Let's Play regardless? Perhaps with a different character? Yeah, definitely. Of course I'm going to play Skyrim at some point. It's probably... I absolutely freaking love this game to bits, you know. Not so much now, but like literally in like the first couple of months I played this game, I had real trouble trying to decide whether or not I liked this more than Morrowind or not, because I think this and Morrowind are totally amazing games. I was pretty disappointed with Oblivion. Modded up to the, you know, modded up to the nines. Oblivion, sorry, is pretty damn good. But Skyrim and Morrowind, both unmodded completely, are both actually really awesome games, and it's very difficult for me to say which one I like more. Obviously probably goes to Morrowind just because I spent longer in it, and well, a whole bunch of reasons I'll explain in a later video, but you know, Skyrim becomes very close. I'm really quite impressed with all the work that Bethesda have done on this. It's by no means flawless, don't get me wrong. There's a whole bunch of things wrong with this game, but I'm really impressed with Skyrim, more impressed than I thought I was going to be, actually, prior to the release of it. So anyway, next question. Oh, I do love weird and random questions like this. Comes from Terak37, and he says, if the Galactic Empire invaded Middle-earth, who would win and why? My money's on Middle-earth, because, I mean, have you seen how incompetent stormtroopers actually are? I mean, right, great, they've got Palpatine and Darth Vader going for them, but that's kind of it, really. Like, they're a bit useless, really. I mean, you've got AT-AT walkers, but Middle-earth's got those big Mumakil, giant elephant things, which are kind of like medieval AT-AT walkers as well. So, you know, I would love to see a fight between an AT-AT and a Mumakil. That would be awesome. But, you know, I think it probably goes to Middle-earth. They've got way more in the way of, like, super-duper powerful beings of awesome power than the Empire has. Like, the Empire's got, like I said, Darth Vader and Palpatine and like probably a bunch of other stuff if you're really into the extended universe stuff, but I'm not, so that's all I can tell you. Whereas Middle-earth's got Gandalf and Saruman and freaking Sauron and Morgoth and all those crazy people who are, you know, capable of destroying entire planets just by kind of looking at them and stuff like that. But so yeah, I think my money would probably be on Middle-earth winning that particular matchup. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. Next question comes from BunnyDo22, another question I think that quite a few people asked is, being that you're obviously a big fan of the Elder Scrolls series, what about the Fallout series? The Fallout series is very difficult to give a judgment on because it's something I only got into very recently compared to the Elder Scrolls games. I didn't play the old Fallout games when they first came out in the way I played Morrowind when that first came out, so I only really got into it after Fallout 3 and New Vegas kind of rolled around. So I do like Fallout. I think it's really cool. I don't perhaps like it as much as the Elder Scrolls, but not by much. Not by much. It's a weird series because it's very much divided in two. It's divided between the new open world ones with like Fallout 3 and New Vegas and presumably Fallout 4 whenever that hits us, and the old ones made by you know, Interplay. So yeah, it's difficult to give a judgment on it because you've got this one series that is divided into two very starkly different parts. The answer is I like both of them for their own, you know, little pros and cons. You know, they're both different in different ways, but I still like them both. Though I will say, as much as people love to be able to say, oh yeah, the old ones were way better than the new ones, I think honestly I've had more fun with Fallout 3 and New Vegas than I have with the old games, really. The original Fallout is a bit kind of clunky, and you know, it's really difficult to get into. Fallout 2 is a lot better. Fallout Tactics I barely played anything of, but Fallout 3 and New Vegas I continue to play them to this day. So you know, there's that, I guess. So yeah, no, I do like the Fallout games. I think they're pretty awesome. A lot of really mad, crazy, imaginative stuff went into those. Perhaps, maybe even more so than the Elder Scrolls games, I think. Perhaps, because there's not a lot of stuff that very easily compares to the Fallout universe. The Fallout universe is just utterly bizarre in so many ways. So, I applaud them for that. Bizarreness is good.